Welcome, listeners, to Zone to Talk. It still surprises me that I can share something publicly, yet it feels like a private conversation. My podcast is so well hidden in this ocean of content in Spotify that it feels like a secure space, safe enough to even share my password. Um, don't worry, I won't. It's at least not yet. Jokes aside, documenting these thoughts are a fun way to interact with public domain. It's currently 4:50 a.m. in the morning when I'm documenting this thought, and um, currently I'm traveling to Oslo for a business event. Norway is a beautiful place with amazing landscape. I've traveled several times to Norway, mainly I'll butcher this name. It's called Bergen, or Danes say Baun. I don't know. Bergen, Bergen. Uh, it's a place in Norway, and another place would be Oslo. I've traveled there several times. Bergen mainly to do the trekking. There's a beautiful mountain there called Trolltunga, and you get an amazing view when you finish the trek. When you are at the top of the mountain, you'd see an amazing view of the Norway, and also the lake or the river that is just flowing in between the two mountains, and the color of the river is just amazing. I would recommend people to definitely visit this place. Um, and then I also visited, again, this is for listeners who are not from Scandinavia. If you want to do something adventurous and move out of your comfort zone, I would say open Google and start typing in the place name called Svalbard. I did mention that I did travel to this place, Svalbard, to my Scandinavian colleagues and friends, and the first reaction was, "Are you serious?" And the second would be like, "There's nothing there. Why did you visit this place?" Um, I would try to argue. I would say that Svalbard is a nice place, but it depends on what's your choice of adventure. This place doesn't have any sunlight for around 100 plus days. So if you are visiting in the winters, be aware of um, having some downsides of not being able to expose yourself to the sun. I mainly visited this place to get a view of the northern lights, and I did. It was beautiful. However, I did not do a lot of research when I visited this place. So when we landed out there, our tour guide informed us that we have a designated area outside which you cannot travel. And if you need to, then you need to accompany a tour guide who would have a gun. And the main reason would be that the population of polar bears is twice that of humans. So please be mindful. Nevertheless, the place is quite beautiful in terms of, um, yeah, seeing wildlife and also seeing northern lights. I've never visited Svalbard in summer, but I've seen pictures, which is quite the trip. With this being said, I want to move on today's point, and today's point of reflection would be, it's quite simple, just the word comfort. Uh, from my perspective, comfort is a double-edged sword. On one hand, we all thrive to achieve comfort. For example, we all want to have good safety, good warmth, have certain materials of our belonging that would give us comfort. And on the other hand, it's a slippery slope um, to be lazy. Like comfort can be so good that you tend to make it as your habit, and then it becomes a slippery slope until the times are really hard. And and I remember I listened to um, a Joe Rogan podcast wherein I think it's been repeated quite a few times, but this line was really catchy for me, and it goes something like, "Hard time creates strong men creates good times create weak men, and weak men create hard time." Quite the circle. Um, and that I had to sit and reflect on that line for some time to understand its meaning. And it is quite powerful. Based on that, like what I was able to note down is there are, like, when humanity was in its um, early stage, or let's say we were in our hunter-gatherer state, the main source of comfort would be having good food, a roof to sleep, maybe animal skin to wear, or to provide some comfort against harsh weather. But over the years, the definition of comfort has changed significantly, up to a point that now at times I feel comfort is like a blocker for growth. It's not always the case, but sometimes it can be a slippery slope that would be a hindrance to growth. Uh, it's not that I'm against comfort. I love comfort. I would like to be sitting in front of the TV, order some good food, get it delivered to home, enjoy uh, television or Netflix or whatever I'm watching at that moment, uh, and feel comfortable. But the problem with it is that if it can also be a false sense of comfort. And if this is repeated, based on my experience, if this is repeated on a certain weeks or months, it can easily put you in a loop wherein you have this weight gain, or you won't feel like you want to do something else apart from this cycle. And that can be really, really tough to come out of. Could be a definition of like soft men creating hard times, you know. The comfort becomes so strong that it would eventually lead to hard times for you as an individual. I mean, obviously it's worded as men, but I would take it as humans or people. The threshold for comfort has changed uh, over time or generation. Like when my parents were growing up, this is back in India, having electricity 24/7 would be considered as a comfort. Uh, like picking up the phone and talking to your loved ones could be another aspect of comfort. Um, like I would say that the comfort has lost its intrinsic values over this period of time, and these things no longer are considered to be a source of comfort. Like picking up a phone and talking to someone won't really be categorized as being comfortable these days. Um, well, comfort also has, like, when I'm thinking about it, also has some cultural aspects to it. There's also a word in Danish. I'm not sure if that has a lot of it directly translates into anything, but there's a word called hygge. And in my basic understanding of Danish and English, I think there is some relationship of comfort to this word called hygge. For example, like if my wife and I have a candlelight dinner, um, in a nice place or maybe on the terrace, uh, it could be considered as romantic, but it could also be like we are in our comfort zone. It's quite comfortable to share that experience with my partner. Similarly, when it comes to culture, when I was in India, for me, the definition of comfort is like having a tough day outside home and then coming home and having dinner or lunch would be considered as a comfort. A good dal and a rice for your dinner would also be considered as a comfort, but then viewing it from a cultural point of view. Uh, Also, watching a game of cricket with your friends and with your family could also be a source of comfort. In addition, I mean, coming out of the cultural context, it could also be that in addition, having a meaningful conversation with your friends or colleagues. I feel that when 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 I switched jobs and moved into a new work environment, having conversation with my colleagues was really difficult. That's because like I didn't know them, they didn't know me, and there was no there was a lack of comfort in the topics and in the discussions that we had, in contrast to like today when I go to the office or have a conversation. Those are some meaningful, deep conversation that I can have with these individuals. And what has happened is through the time that we have spent together working on certain topics or arguing on certain aspects has opened a lot of doors or broken down a lot of doors in between us, so that now we have reached a certain level of comfort that we can have these meaningful conversation or even just be silent in front of them, uh, like not have any conversation and doesn't feel uncomfortable. You can have that moment when you're with your friends or your colleagues and you just don't have any topic to throw up, neither do they, so it's just silent, but you are in your own comfort area wherein you don't feel that, okay, I need to randomly generate a topic and kill the silence. It's sometimes it's fine to be um, uh, silent and feel comfortable. That was the point of it. So to summarize, I think uh, comfort is such a topic that it can transcend time, culture, generations, um, and much more. I think I've not thought about all the aspects that comfort could transcend. If you do think, or if you want to argue or have some strong opinions on this, you may leave a comment in the Spotify comment section. Well, we are in that section where we have ended the reflection point, and now I just want to share some fun topic that I found out recently. It would be fun, it could be trivial, um, up to you guys, but for me it was like quite a I wouldn't call it fun, but it was quite a shock. It was quite a uh, yeah. Let's go through that topic and then you guys can tag it yourself whether it is fun or trivial. So recently, my wife, my son, and I visited Southern Europe, and we visited a place called Montreux. It's a place in Switzerland. I would recommend people to visit, as it's a great blend of beautiful landscape, and you get a great food because it has a border with France. So you also get like great amazing food there and amazing landscape. And we were on a road trip from Denmark to Montreux. Um and during that road trip, we came like we were talking on some topic, and then I asked this question to my wife: "Do you know what's the capital of Switzerland?" And my wife was like, I think it's Zurich. Or wait a minute, it could be Geneva." Uh, and after that, I was like, I myself was not sure what was it? And then we Wikipedia or Wikied it, um, and found out that Switzerland doesn't have a capital. Surprise. It has a federal state, but it doesn't have a capital like other countries do. Maybe there are more countries like this. I've not done the research, but now you know if it's trivial or funny. Uh, Anyways, I think it's time to wrap this up. With that note, thanks for listening in. And as always, thank you in Danish, tak, and Jai Hind.